Hello everyone, this is Ashley and welcome back to my channel. Today I really don't know where to start with this, but I do want to go ahead and talk about this today. As you can tell by the title, I'm needing to really discuss with you guys about some things that have happened over the past weekend and week here in Arkansas and also in other neighboring states. If you haven't already heard, we were affected in our community and in some other areas, states like Tennessee, Missouri, Kentucky. We were affected by a unusual December outbreak of tornadoes. I'm no stranger to tornadoes and tornadic weather and severe weather and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to just pop in and tell you guys a couple of things and let you guys know that I am okay. My family is okay. We had quite a few close calls. And I also wanted to give you guys some information here. I know a lot of you are not from around this area. A lot of you have asked me about the weather and things that are fascinating to you about where we live in the United States, because we do have some unique weather here to the rest of the world. So I was going to tell you a little bit about that, some of my experiences, and then also I'm going to include some stuff so that you guys can donate if that is something you're interested in doing. But I just wanted to, I don't know, this is going to be kind of weird, kind of awkward, because this is definitely not a time to be, super happy and bubbly and like I normally am. And so you very rarely get to see this side of me. But this is the compassionate side of me. This is the side of me that might start crying because, sorry. But this is the side of me that is the reality of the world, not necessarily the real me, but things happen in our lives that you don't plan on happening, things that just occur that can alter your life path or the life path of people around you. And, it's best not to just stand by and sit by. I know that in this area we have been affected by weather events and things of that nature quite often, and we do come together as a very strong community. I just wanted to kind of let you guys in on that community that we have here. So, but yes, this is not going to be one of my normal happy, excited, cute and tiny things that I do. This is just going to be a very serious, very real, because sometimes we have to get very serious and very real. And I feel like having this small fan base, this small community that we have that's growing here, and a lot of you guys that are really interacting with me, and I consider you my internet friends, my wonderful friends out there. I want to share the real stuff with you. So it's not always sunshine, rainbows, and sprinkles and kittens, as I tell my students. Sometimes you have to deal with hard things, and I feel like having this small community we have here, we need to do something if it's possible, right? So anyways, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So let's just talk about tornado weather in general. I know a lot of y'all are interested in that. So I live in Arkansas. I'm not telling specifically where I live, but I do live on the Northeast corridor, as they call it, the Northeast region. So you can look up on a map and you can look up Northeast Arkansas and you will literally see where we are. So we're right along the Mississippi River, we're right underneath the Boot Heel of Missouri, and we're not too far from Tennessee and Kentucky. So that's kind of where we live. So, but in this area, technically we are on the outskirts of Tornado Alley, as they call it. If you look up Tornado Alley as well, you can figure out Tornado Alley in the United States. It actually majority takes up a lot of the western parts of Arkansas into parts of the northern parts of Texas, into Oklahoma, Kansas, places like that. So that's the majority of Tornado Alley. And a lot of those people do get affected a lot more than we do. But the problem is, from where we live in Arkansas and in the areas that were affected, is we are very densely populated. We're not like New York. We don't have a large population. Where I live specifically, we have about 80,000 people. But so the people who live in Kansas, Oklahoma and stuff like that, they're a little bit more rural. They're a little bit more spread out. Yes, they have big cities, but it's very flat, plain lands in those areas. So where we live specifically, we have the Mississippi River, which borders us, and we have a lot of hills. We call them mountains, but they are just hills. So we have a lot of like rolling hills and rolling things and stuff like that, as they call them. Ridges. Crowley's Ridge is something if you're interested in knowing about geography around where we live. Crowley's Ridge is something you could look up. But anyways, to keep this short, we're not as spread out, and we have a lot of hills. We have a lot of geographic area that we get a lot of the Gulf from like Louisiana and up. We get a lot of the Gulf warm air. And so where we live, yes, we're on the outskirts of Tornado Alley, but we get a lot of severe weather around here. Just a little background as well. I have been through a lot of tornadic events as a kid. I do remember quite a few times that we've had to go to the storm shelter at my grandparents' house and having to drive to my grandparents' house because we don't have a shelter at our own home. I do remember like being blown like almost off the road. I have seen tornadoes. I have watched them go by. I have stood outside of my house and watched tornadoes go by. Not necessarily always on the ground. Trying to think. I have been caught in a lot of hailstorms. Those happen a lot too. But I have been involved in those. I have sat in our bathroom with the mattress over me many, many times. I've sat in our bathtub many, many times. I have sat in the hallway with the mattress over us many, many times. I've listened to the sirens. And there are many times we had a lot of close calls. I mean, I've had a lot of friends and family who lived in our area over the years who have lost their homes. I've actually had family members that have died in tornadoes. So it's very close and very personal to me. So that's a little bit about the weather and a little bit about my experience. And no, it's not something to laugh at. The things about, a lot of people always ask me about, I'm sorry, I'm looking off because I'm concentrating. I'm concentrating. But a lot of people always ask me like, well, why, if you know tornadoes are going to happen in your area, why are you guys not more prepared? That's the problem with tornadoes. So if you're not from my area, you don't know about tornadic weather. It's unique to the United States because of the way we're laid out with the coasts and the way that, you know, the Coriolis, all that junk affects our weather. And so we're unique to that. Now, I don't know much about weather around the world, so maybe you guys could inform me a little bit more. But I do know that like hurricanes and monsoons, those can be tracked. They can be tracked for days. You can literally watch them develop. You can plan where they may be. You have days, most cases, you have days, sometimes even weeks to prepare for those. Tornadoes, you don't get that. You don't get that. We have an amazing meteorology team around here. If you guys don't know about them, oh my goodness, you need to look them up. Ryan Vaughn, Zach Holder. We have a bunch of people. Justin Logan was also one of our amazing meteorologists at one time. So if you're interested in them, look them up. Our website for news is called KAIT8 News or KIT8 Region 8 News. So anyway, our team is amazing. They actually helped us in the tornado of 2020, that I've talked about before, that took out our mall and destroyed a lot of houses in our area, actually in my hometown, like literally not, 20-ish miles from my house. So, or a lot of my students had lost their homes during that tornado in 2020. So you can look that one up, the 2020 tornado in Northeast Arkansas. But anyway, so tornadoes are unpredictable. You can follow storm systems, but you're not always guaranteed to have you're not guaranteed to have immediate notice. You're not guaranteed to have plenty of time. So what happened with these tornadoes in our area, there were a lot of spin-up tornadoes, as we call them, spin-ups. The way this storm formed, there was a lot of like really quick rotations that just popped up and popped down. I actually watched, I saw where they've actually surveyed the damage and surveyed and told what scale of the tornadoes are. So tornadoes are put on a scale depending on the damage they do, their wind speeds, all that stuff, their how long they're on the ground. So we had a lot of EF zeros. So if you're interested in that, you might want to look up the Fujita scale, the EF tornado scale. So we had a lot of zeros, and zeros are just quick spin ups. They may not stay for very long. They probably just bring down limbs and stuff like that. They're not very strong. Strongest are EF5s, which luckily in our area, we haven't had an EF5 for many, many years. But the one that affected the towns closest to me, so you probably heard the town Monette. That's how it's pronounced, Monette, Monette, Leachville. the places in Kentucky, all of those areas, they were affected by an EF4. They had about 170-mile-per-hour winds. Basically, homes were completely almost leveled. Not everything was gone, but completely leveled. And that's where I want to move into the whole, I've told you about the weather and I told you a little about tornadoes, that they're not predictable. You literally get a minute's notice. So that's the reason that a lot of people do not make it through tornado things. And that's why we're not as prepared as people say we are. Because we are, it's just, you can't predict those things. So anyways, let me get into the whole like how you can help thing. I will say that I had family that lives in Monette. I have family that lives in another town called Caraway that was affected. I have a lot of friends who lived in Truman, which is another area around here that was really, really affected. Not reported on as much, but those are the areas in Arkansas that were hit the most. But then there's also Kentucky. There's a little places in Missouri and a couple places in Tennessee. So what I've kind of done is, you guys cannot give me donations. I can't take anything from you guys. So what I'm going to do is give you a bunch of links, a bunch of websites and things, maybe some phone numbers and things if you're interested. Now, if you're international, not 100% sure if you're going to be able to donate anything. I don't know how that works, but your thoughts, your prayers, your positive vibes, all of those things you could send to me and I can try and send those back into the universe somehow, you know? So anyways, we really need to help out. Even if you can only help out just like one person or like a small community, that would be awesome. I'm not asking you to actually do this. I'm not saying do it now, because that's not how that works. If you feel led to give or feel led to donate or you feel led to pray or to have thoughts for us, then I appreciate it. But this is just in case you're interested in that. So I am going to link a couple of, I have my computer over here. I am going to put a bunch of links down below, but I'm also going to like make kind of a list over here of some things that you can do. So I have a link to our personal news outlet. The title of the document is Tornado Resources, Shelters, Donation Drop-Off Locations. This is specifically for people in the area. So I know I have quite a few of my friends that actually live in this area that follow me. So hi, everybody who lives here. I hope you're okay and you're doing well. But if you live in our area, this is the one that you're going to want to go to. This is going to help out with not only if you want to give donations, but also if you want to help with cleanup, if you want to help with like mental health counseling, all that stuff. If you have survived the tornado and stuff, I'm going to give you some resources for that. So that website is down below. It's our KIT8 news channel. So on there, the biggest things that I want to tell local people, so all my local people in Northeast Arkansas area, they're doing blood drives. There are a lot of blood drives going on December 14th to the 23rd all around Northeast Arkansas. Like there's some in Osceola, Blytheville, and quite a few in the town that I live in. So if you are in the area and you can give blood, then that's a big thing. Also, I learned that there is, for Truman, there is a private charitable fund that they're setting up with Southern Bancorp. So Southern Bancorp, the bank in Truman, has created with the Truman Ministerial Alliance. So like a church group has set up a fund at Southern Bancorp in Truman. If you're wanting to do that, that is linked there, but you can send checks and they have their mailing address on that link as well. So make sure you go down and check out that link if you're interested in doing that. The Red Cross obviously will help all people affected during these tornadoes. Red Cross is kind of, American Red Cross is like our group that helps with emergency and disaster relief. There is a number you can call. Put it up here. You can also text Red Cross to 90999 to give $10. So that will definitely help with our areas, and that helps with emergency crew too. For Monette specifically, they're setting up donations at Monette City Hall. So if you're interested in that, you'll need to just look up Monette, Arkansas City Hall, call them for information, tell them you're wanting to donate to the disaster relief, the tornado relief fund, and they will give you the information on how to donate to their charitable little, to their bank account so that they can help with Monette. And if you don't know, Monette was like the most affected. Monette and Truman were the most two affected towns in Arkansas. So, and Monette actually, where my grandmother used to work as an LPN, she worked at the Monette Manor, if you've heard. It's the nursing home that was really affected. There was only one person who didn't make it through that, but a lot of people were injured and stuff, and their building is destroyed. So, yeah, I'm really close-knit to all these areas. So, anyways, there's that if you want to donate to those. If you're local as well, I wanted to make sure I pointed this out too. UAMS, so that's going to be like our local hospital, is giving free virtual mental health clinics to people who were survivors of the tornado, or people who were having like issues with processing it, or you needing to talk to somebody about this disaster and stuff. They're giving free mental health counseling through UAMS. There's a phone number that you can call. I'll put it here. Please do not call these phone numbers that I'm giving you just to call them. The ones that I'm giving you are specifically for people who are survivors or local. So please don't just call randomly. If you're really, you were affected or you need to make donations specifically, please call for that, but do not call for any other like random reasons. The other website I'm going to link is actually to the New York Times. It says you may have to subscribe to this page, but if you do it on like a computer, you should be able to see it like I did. There's a page here. The title of the article is How to Help Victims of the Tornadoes. And so there's a lot of things for Kentucky here. I know that there is also called the Brothers Brother Foundation. I'd never heard about this until I looked this up. But it's a Pittsburgh-based organization that helps with disaster relief. And there's a link to it on the New York Times site that I'm putting down here, where you can donate money, food, things like that. And it's actually going to help Arkansas and Kentucky. And it's going to help with emergency crews. So the emergency crew people who are working, they are godsend. So they are heroes. They're working long hours. They're processing this stuff, going through grief just like we are. So their Brother Foundation is donating things like food, hot meals, things like that to emergency crew too. But there's a lot of places in Kentucky, like a lot of businesses, as are in where I live. A lot of these local businesses are taking, like if you shop there, they donate $10, they donate whatever, so look that up if you're interested in those. But anyway, there's lots of other places like Feeding America, Convoy of Hope, and then I want to also tell you, so this is where a lot of you people who are not from this area can donate. There is a GoFundMe that is specifically for the Midwestern and Southern tornado outbreak, how to help. They're specifically for. So it's like a group page where all of these verified people are actually letting you donate. So instead of just going to GoFundMe and looking up a random one, okay, there's a literal page, and I'm linking down below, for GoFundMe that is specifically for the people who were affected for these tornadoes. So it's a group verified fundraiser essentially. So you can go there and you can donate to those GoFundMes in that way. Okay. So I don't know, this is a lot to process. I'll tell you kind of about my experience with this just really quick. Like, hopefully you listened and went all the way through the video and learned some things about tornadoes. Maybe you learned some things about how to donate, how to help people. Hopefully this was informational for you guys. It's totally different than what I normally do. And we're also in my classroom, which you never get to come to. So, but anyways, I will kind of tell you my experience about it. So, actually, I was in a show. I was putting on a show called Svetlana's First Christmas, and it was a double feature at our local theater. You guys know I do theater. So I was putting on the show, and we knew that there was some bad weather. So where this theater is that I live in, it's about 20 miles north of where I live. So it was basically out of like the severe weather area. We were just right outside it, but literally 20 miles south was where everybody was getting hit. 20 miles south and about 40-ish miles west or east is going to be like the path that was affected. So I was okay where I was at. It was our opening night for our show, and we had like 20 kids. And yes, we did have to go downstairs in our theater and hunker down for a little bit because the tornado warning was a little bit in our area. But anyway, we ended up delaying the show for just like 30 minutes, and we were fine. But let me tell you, my husband, Aaron, he stayed home with our cats. I have 4 cats and a dog. And I told him, don't come to opening night, stay home with the animals, because I was so worried. So anyway, right before we're about to start the show, the tornado warning goes off, and I get on my weather app and I start watching, and I call my husband, and I text my husband, and I'm texting my mom and dad, I'm texting like everybody, because while I'm putting on this show, these tornadoes are going on literally in my hometowns. So that was hard. Right before we went on, there was some signs of rotation and stuff just right close to our house where my husband was with our animals. And it was hard. It was a lot to process that something could happen to them or people in my area. Another thing that like hit me really hard was my students. I am a teacher, and I do teach senior high students, but you know, they have jobs, they work, they live in the area, and so the first thing I thought was, I hope my students are okay. I didn't want to have to come to school when something happened. So, and then when I heard that it had hit Monette, that's where some of my family lives, LiQWYD, literally I have family that lives behind all that stuff that got hit. It was hard because you can't really get in touch with anybody. It's like not my close family, but it's people in my family, you know. I didn't find out till later that a bunch of my friends that live in Truman were affected. A bunch of my friends that live in those areas were affected. So anyway, it was hard. It was, I still went on with the show because my husband kept telling me he's fine. But yeah, it's hard. And the hardest thing, honestly, is thinking that, you know, we're okay, but people in other places aren't. I think they said they're very close to 90 who lost their lives in Kentucky only. And so it's hard to process that we were lucky, we were safe. And then, you know, just literally 80 miles, 100 miles, you know, north, they're not. So anyway, like I said, it's not all sunshine, rainbows, sprinkles, and kittens over here, but you kind of have to look at it in a different perspective, that if you are still okay and you're still here, then you have an opportunity to help, you have an opportunity to spread the word, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to educate you guys just a little bit about what happened, give you some resources. I'm trying to help out those who are local, so if you're local and you're watching, you know, hopefully I gave you some extra resources, and I shared my experience. Maybe you can relate to that. Maybe my email is open. I have it in my description and stuff. My comment section is open. If you guys are interested in sharing anything, any stories, if you're interested in sharing about whether that you've experienced wherever you're at. I don't know. I just feel like you have to kind of come together and realize that we all experience something related to this. We all, no matter where we're at, we all experience something that is similar to each other. You know, we're not alone in this. You just have to realize that this is all part of the human experience. This is all part of what we all go through. And once you realize that you're not by yourself, that there are resources, there are people, there's things that you can relate to and connect to, then hopefully, you know, you can look at it more positively and feel a little bit better about, you know, your experience. So I don't know. I don't mean to get all sappy and like sad and all those things, but it's real. Things like this happen to people in real life all the time. Things worse than this happen to people in real life all the time. So you just got to kind of, you know, thank your lucky stars that you're living here today. And yeah, so hopefully that was informative. Hopefully that helps out some people. So yeah, just give us your thoughts, your prayers, your good vibes, all of those things, and I will send them right back to you if you've ever experienced anything like this, or hope that nothing like this ever happens to you guys as well. So I don't know how to end this because this isn't really ending. This is like an ongoing thing, an ongoing community thing. So just let me know down below, share your experiences. Let me know if you're interested in more like real experiences like this other than just toys, because that's all I really do. But anyway, keep being good humans. That's all I can really say. Just keep being a good human and try your very best, and be compassionate, be be empathic to how the people are feeling. You don't know what people are going through. And yeah, so thank you guys. I really appreciate it. If you stayed through to the whole video, good on you. Yeah, but eventually I'll be back to my, regular peppy happy self. You'll see me in videos in the future, just, going back on. But just know that, that's how I am majority of the time, like 90% of the time. But then 10% of the time, we have to get real. And I like to use this channel. I like to talk with you guys and use my videos as a way to escape the real world, as a way to feel like a kid again, and all of those fun things. And, just kind of like decompress and not stress. But then you have to also realize that there are real things that are happening. I am an adult. We are all humans. We all experience things. So find yourself an outlet is the best thing that I can say. And hopefully this is informative and helpful for all of you guys. So I really do appreciate all of you for staying there, hanging in there with me. If you were affected by this, hang in there. Try some of those resources. Reach out to me or people around you. But yeah, I wanted to thank you guys for joining me in my classroom randomly. All right. Hopefully I'll see you guys in a future video.